Welcome to the results video for UFC Fight Night Vettori vs Dolidze 2, where we will find out which UFC predictors on YouTube had the best and the worst results for correct picks, their return on investment, and which channels are on the longest winning or losing streaks. But first, we'll go over the totals for this event and compare the overall results of the Oddsmakers versus the Tapology community versus the YouTube prediction channels. There were a total of 13 fights on this card and 99 channels made a total of 1245 predictions, for an average of 12.6 per channel. Out of those 1245 predictions, only 647 predictions were correct for 52%, which is far below the average of 63%. So it was a rough week for the UFC prediction channels, and 598 predictions were incorrect for 48%, which is much higher than the average of 37%. The favorite fighter in odds won 7 out of 13 fights. And had you placed a $100 bet on all the favorite fighters on this card to win their fight, you could have lost $388 for a minus 29.8% return on investment. The underdog fighters won 6 out of 13 fights, keeping up the trend of 2025 where the underdog fighters perform better than usual. And had you placed that same $100 bet on all the underdog fighters, you could have won $715 for a very good return on investment of 55%. The most notable underdogs were of course Carlos Vera, who was a plus 500 underdog, and only 5 out of 95 channels picked him to win, and Branson Ribeiro, who was a plus 350 underdog, and only one channel, JP Bet Journal, picked him to win out of 96 channels. This picture was posted on Saturday on my Patreon and Buy Me a Coffee account, where I make an update every Friday and Saturday after my video with the latest up-to-date picks and odds. If you want to stay up to date and support the channel, then check out the links in the video description. And how did the favorite in picks by the Tapology community perform? Well, they had 6 out of 13 correct. And if you had placed a $100 bet on all the favorites in picks by the Tapology community, you could have lost $521 for a minus 40% ROI. What about the favorite in picks by the YouTube predictors? Their favorites were the same as the favorite fighters in odds, so the exact same result. So the bookmakers and the YouTube predictors were better than the Tapology community in picking the favorite fighters. Which channels had the least correct picks this week? In fourth place we have Harbor, MMA, Parlay Princess and the Sportsbook Killer. All 3 of them made 12 predictions and 5 of them were correct for 41.7%. In third place for least correct picks we have these 8 channels. All 8 of them had 5 out of 13 correct for 38.5%. In second place we have Baby Sharp MMA, Fight Fiend Forecast, Giuliano Argentini MMA, MMA Bet Viper and MMA BG. All 5 of them had 4 out of 13 correct for 30.8%. But the channel with the least correct picks this week is MMA Experts. He had 3 out of 13 predictions correct for a correct pick percentage of 23.1%. Which channels had the most correct picks this week? In sixth place we have Sun Tzu Tips with 5 out of 8 correct for 62.5%. In fifth place are Hayjive Picks, JustWinBabyMMA, the Finz Chats and Uncle Weezy. All 4 of them have 9 out of 13 correct for 69.2%. In fourth place is Lightning MMA with 7 out of 10 correct for 70%. In third place we have AsideMMA with 8 out of 11 correct for 72.7%. In second place are MMA Attic and A-Train from Premium Picks with 9 out of 12 correct for 75%. And in first place this week with the most correct picks we have Utica from Bros Talk MMA and Coty MMA. Both of them had 10 out of 13 correct for a correct pick percentage of 76.9%. So, congratulations to both of them and the rest of the channels for having the highest correct pick percentage this week. If you want to check out any of these channels, links can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 99 channels with the correct picks, their total picks and the correct pick percentage.
For the most profitable and unprofitable predictors this week, we will only track channels that make picks on at least 50% of all the fights for this card. Every pick counts, regardless of confidence level or odds preference. We place a $100 bet on each pick to win their fight, aka the money line. We calculate the results using the odds from the tail of the tape. The rankings are based on the return on investment percentage.
Which channels were the most unprofitable predictors this week and at the lowest return on investment? At number 9 we have the True Analyst. he made 13 predictions, and if you followed all of his predictions and placed a $100 bet on the outcome of the fight, aka the money line, you could have lost $568 for a return on investment percentage of minus 33.7. At number 8, we have MMA Joey with minus 45.5% over his 13 predictions. In 7th place, we have Sportsbook Killa with a return on investment of minus 46.6% over his 12 predictions. In 6th place, we have Michael MMA, Pick'em MMA and Hank the Tank from Split Decision. All 3 of them made the exact same 13 predictions, and if you had followed all of these picks from one of these channels, you could have had a return on investment of minus 51.8%. In 5th place, for most unprofitable predictor, we have Axel MMA. He made 13 predictions and had a return on investment of minus 52.6%. At number 4 is Fight Fiend Forecast with a return on investment of minus 61%. In 3rd place is MMA Bet Viper with a minus 61.3% ROI. In 2nd place, for most unprofitable predictors this week, we have Giuliano Argentini MMA and MMA BG. Both of them made the exact same predictions for a return on investment of minus 62.8%. And in 1st place, for most unprofitable predictor this week, is the channel who also had the least correct picks this week, which is MMA Experts. If you followed all of his 13 predictions and placed a $100 bet for each pick to win their fight, you could have lost $936 for a return on investment of minus 72%. Which channels could have made you the most money if you had followed all of their picks and had placed a $100 bet on each pick to win their fight? At number 10, we have Hayjive Picks with a profit of $190 for a 14.6% return on investment over his 13 predictions. At number 9, we have Uncle Weezy with a return on investment of 15.3%. At number 8 is JustWinBabyMMA with a return on investment of 17.1%. In 7th place is AsideMMA with a 17.8% ROI over his 11 predictions. At number 6 we have A-Train from Premium Picks with a 24.1% return on investment over his 12 predictions. In 5th place is MMA Attic. He made 12 predictions and if you followed all of them you could have had a return on investment of 25.8%. In 4th place for most profitable predictor we have Coty MMA with a 27.1% return on investment. In 3rd place is Zlatan's Fight Picks with a return on investment of 31.6% over his 13 predictions. In 2nd place this week for the most profitable predictor we have the Finz Chats. If you had followed all of his 13 predictions you could have had a return on investment of 52.3%. And he was one of the 5 channels that had picked the biggest underdog on this card, Carlos Vera, to win with plus 500. And in 1st place this week for the most profitable predictor we have Utica from TalkMma. If you had placed a $100 bet on each of his picks to win their fight, aka the money line, you could have won $819 for a very good return on investment of 63%. So, congratulations to Utica for being the most profitable predictor this week and the rest of the channels in this top 10. Links to all these channels can be found in the video description. And here is the overview of all 99 channels that I've tracked this week with their money won or lost and the return on investment percentage. And as you can see, only 14 channels were profitable this week with all of their picks. So yeah, it was a pretty rough week for most UFC prediction channels. Which channels are on the longest losing streak and keep losing with their picks week after week? In alphabetical order, these 16 channels are on a 4-week losing streak. Out of those 17 channels, 8 are on a 5-week losing streak. And 7 out of those 8 are on a 6-week losing streak. But only 3 channels are on a 7-week losing streak, which are DFS by the Numbers, Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast and Fallen Angel MMA. DFS by the Numbers and Paul from the Dogger Pass podcast are both on an 8-week losing streak. But only DFS by the Numbers is on a 9-week losing streak. But it gets even worse and I had to make a new slide especially for him because he's also on a 10-week losing streak. So I really hope he wins next week, otherwise I have to make a new slide again. Which channels are on the longest winning streak? And like I said before, in the overview of all 99 channels with the return on investment percentage, only these 14 channels were profitable and are on a 1-week winning streak. Out of those 14 channels, 11 are on a 2-week winning streak. And on a 3-week winning streak, we have AsideMMA, Lightning MMA, A-Train from Premium Picks, Ben Duffy from Sherdock.com and Sansu Tips. but none of these 5 channels have a 4-week winning streak. That was it for the results video. Hope you enjoyed it and found it informative. If you did, then don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for watching, have a great week, and I'll see you all in the next video.